Feel free to jot down your question here, and a member of our team will respond promptly. So now let's start with Aline. First of all, I just want to, in case you were not here yesterday when we talked about the first live about the school week, I showed the International School Guide, which we have available in print and online. It's a directory of international schools that Global Citizen Solutions put together in partnership with Goldcrest Real Estate. Basically, the clients came to us with lots of questions about the international schooling landscape in Portugal, and that prompted our team to create this guide. As you see, our team will share some images, but there is a bit of the structure on the educational system in Portugal, as well as maps. I will show you this one here, the biggest one, so it's easy to see. So here's a map of Portugal with the number of schools. Hang on, let me get the camera properly. There you go. So it's very useful if you're looking for property. And here is a breakdown. A breakdown of international schools in Lisbon. But you will see that here you will also find Greater Lisbon area, which covers Oeiras, Sintra and Cascais, Setubal, Central Portugal, North, and Algarve. But yeah, so shall we start? I will start with Aline. Aline, as I said, she looks after the onboarding. So she's the first person in contact with our clients at Global Citizen Solutions, and they share a lot of their insights, a lot of challenges that they want to overcome when moving to Portugal. And one of them is to find school for their families when relocating here. So, Aline, I'd like you to tell us more about what services does GCS, Global Citizen Solutions, offer to families relocating to Portugal.
Maybe it would be easier just if you had asked which service GCS doesn't, actually.
Right. Okay.
Right. So we are always trying to provide everything that our clients need. So as I said actually yesterday, GCS been growing a lot, and every need that we see that our clients have, we just start working on it to be able to provide that for our clients. So far we provide so many things, but mainly visa and immigration assistance. So even since to understand which visa would be the best one if the client wants to relocate to Portugal, and how that would work, and try to show them the difference between the visas and see which one would fit better them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mainly the ones that you need to relocate to Portugal. And with that, we will assist with all the legal and bureaucracy part of this process. Getting a tax number here in Portugal that's called NIF, opening bank account, registered with the authorities.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you don't need a visa if you're from just another country in Europe. You could just register yourself in Portugal, so you wouldn't need a visa actually if you're an EU citizen. We help to find a house if you want to leave, just renting something, or if you want to buy. And Rafael actually will be the one that will be talking about this, and actually more expert in this part. So we also would assist our clients with every single thing that they need. If they want to know more about Portugal, we would be here. If they need some different service, if we still don't have this service here at GCS, we would present to our partners or give some advice on how to get this information, on how to get this service. So I believe we try to get, I would say, 360 full cycle, actually, to try to help the clients to have the best experience on the relocation process that they have.
Yeah, and relocating to a new country is it's a daunting move, and so if you need any help you can get. So, Aline, I'm going to ask you from your experience, what is it that families are looking for when they are searching for schools?
Uh, well, first of all, they are looking for a, the best fit for their child,
Hmm.
actually. And actually, each family they have their own particularity and preferences. So, what is good for one family? Well, not good, but what's the best option for one family maybe is not the best option for the other one. So, but I believe academic excellence is something that everyone is looking for when they are trying to find a school for their kids, and they're actually trying to find the best curriculum and the best educational approach to see which one of the options actually would be the best one for their kids and for their culture. Sometimes class size as well, they would know how many students would have in each class, and how they would have more individualized attention, and how the sport would be for their kids. Also, extracurricular activities, I think, is it's very important, because so even to insert the kids on the community and learn more, and of course depends on if it would be go for arts, drama, music, or some kind of clubs. Or I heard actually yesterday John even said that his son, I think, is doing some surf lessons as extracurricular activities, if I'm not mistaken. And that's I think is it's really nice. It's one of the things very interesting here in Portugal, because we have so many places to do that, and a school having this option is something
Yeah,
interesting to the
yeah,
kids. And it's always good to go to the school as well to do a tour and check how they feel about that, and if they think that their child will fit to that environment. Some families want more discipline, more safety, and so yeah, it's so many things. But one of the things also would be where they would be living if they are enrolled their kids in one of the schools. So it's important to see if you're not going to have like a huge, really long commute to take your kids to school every single day. And yeah, I think it's pretty much that. Of course, there are so many other things, and parents could list thousands of concerns and preferences that they would have. But I think I think I got the main ones here.
yeah. No, definitely. I think that was a very good overview. And it's you also mentioned on the extracurricular activities, which helps with the social integration, which is something that you mentioned live yesterday that we've done. That clients are also looking for opportunities for social integration when they move to a new country. So that's great. And then, so that was the reasoning behind putting together a guide to facilitate this journey for your clients, correct?
Yes, it was, because sometimes you're gonna try to find information. If you go online, you're gonna have information from every single place, and it can be a little bit confusing, right? So as we are always trying to get what our clients demand, we saw that there was a lack of information, not a lack of information, but information in one single place to
Yeah.
explain how the Portuguese system works, and the list of schools that you have, the how everything works. We even explain how they are grading students. So I think it's something different, also because every country has their own system. And so in this guide, we put together a lot of information that is really handy for our clients, like key information, actually, the main points that you should be aware when you're choosing a school, and when you're deciding to relocate to a different country. We just try to make lives easier, as always. And of course, if our clients or anyone that have access to this guide have any doubts could contact us as well. We would be more than happy to explain and try to go through and clarify any questions about that. But this is the main thing. So keep the key information in one single place. Make life easier and not let anyone get anxious trying to find information and get a lot of different actually information. So that was the purpose of this guide, help our clients to understand better how the international schools in Portugal works and the options that they have.
Amazing, amazing. I mean, easing off the anxiety of our clients. I like that. Um, Fantastic. And I think that comment that you made about the guides, that even in the grading system, it has a comparison of the American system and the Portuguese grading system. It's all in the details, and that's really helpful for someone that is in the stage of searching where to go, where to put your child. Now, I'd like to, since we're talking about grading and schooling system, I'm going to ask Pedro Oliveira a few questions. So Pedro is an international educator. He's a member of the International Baccalaureate Educators Network. He's a program leader. So I am dishing out your curriculum here, Pedro, but feel free to step in case I am saying anything that's not correct. And he also works at the Sharing Schools as a teacher. So, Pedro, can you tell us a bit about your background? Anything else I haven't mentioned yet?
Of course. Well, to start, I want to thank you for the invitation. It's an honor to be here together with the other guest speakers, Aline and Rafael. A little bit about myself. I'm an international educator. Since I graduated and embarked on that journey that is to be a teacher, I decided to specialize myself in international settings, international schools, international educational services. I've been working with that for the past 15 years, and I've been working in various roles, from teacher to middle school coordinator, high school coordinator, principal of a school. And since last year, because I've been working with the International Baccalaureate for quite some time, I was accepted as a program leader. And what I do is basically I perform audits to IB schools, whether they're starting their IB journey or they're recertifying their programs, their IB programs. And I've been working now at the International Sharing School in Oeiras. It's not in the south of the river. It's in Oeiras, next to Lisbon. And it's one of the many international schools that the region has to offer.
Okay. And then, Pedro, I think it's important for our audience to know exactly what's the International Baccalaureate curriculum entices. I know there's a plethora of curriculums, of international curriculums around. It goes from British French, which the name says it's quite easy to understand what they're for or what they are. But what is the IB curriculum?
Perfect. Well, let me start by saying that the country with the most IB recognized schools in the world is the United States.
I thought you were going to say Portugal.
No, it's not. No, I believe we have 10 to 12 schools in Portugal recognized by the IB. The United States has thousands of them. But the IB, the International Baccalaureate, it's an organization. It's a non-profit organization. It started in the 60s in Switzerland at the International School of Geneva. And they understood, the educators there understood that there was a need of creating a curriculum that could attend the diversity, the cultural diversity, and the different backgrounds that school in particular was having. Switzerland and Geneva, it's a very cosmopolitan city, lots of international departments, and lots of expats there. And they would receive students from all over the world. So they developed this program that aims to develop critical thinkers, global citizens that can make a difference in the world. They can act locally, but they think globally. And they've been developing this concept through the past 50 years or so, to the point that now we have 4 different programs. We have a program for primary years, another program for middle years, and another program, and actually 2 programs for high school. The cherry on top of the cake is called the diploma program. And there's another program that it's a careers program. Well, the IB can be taught in 3 different languages, can be taught in English, Spanish, and French. And it suits quite well American citizens when they leave the United States, because not only the curriculum is challenging and demanding, the concepts that the students have to learn are quite challenging. It also develops not only content and knowledge, but also develops skills. And the aim is to develop critical thinkers, students with initiative, students that care for one another, they care for their environment, and they care for the world they live in. They're quite knowledgeable, and the universities recognize the IB programs. They highly recognize the IB programs and gives access. If a student graduates from an IB program, it gives them access to not any university, but the majority of the universities, or the high-tier universities, the most sought-after universities in the world, without having to do, admissions exams or the country admissions exams of those universities. And that's a great advantage if you're living outside of your own country, obviously.
Okay. And are there schools that offer both an IB, the International Baccalaureate, as well as a British curriculum? They can keep both at the same time?
That will depend on the school, but some schools here in Portugal do offer different curricula to fit different backgrounds and different intentions. Some schools only offer the IB programs. Other schools offer the IB programs or the A levels, for example, for England. They offer American curriculums as well. They offer Portuguese curriculums, Cambridge curriculums. It will depend on the school, and it will depend on the type of, the pool of students that the school has, and the strategies, the mission, and the vision of the school.
Okay, I see. Pedro, I think you've given some insights into the role of educational leadership in international schools. I think I'd like to move on to the social integration, which is something that our audience has been asking. And also we've been getting questions now, just as a reminder that we're focusing in Lisbon, Greater Lisbon area, south of the river. How do you think international schools in Portugal are developing that curriculum to cater to the diverse backgrounds of many different countries?
Okay. Well, I cannot speak for all the schools, obviously, but I believe that international schools in Portugal, they understand the importance of addressing the needs of their diverse student population. And obviously, all the schools will strive to provide well-rounded education that obviously meets the needs of those students in particular, and their different educational backgrounds. The schools often follow internationally recognized, like I said, they follow either the International Baccalaureate curriculum or they follow the Cambridge curriculum. And this can fit into the needs of the students and the needs of the families. Sometimes families already have an intention of, studying here, but then enroll in a university in a specific country. So they look into those different curriculums. The curriculum that fits, it's difficult to say that fits better, right? It will obviously depend, but the one that it's widely recognized is the International Baccalaureate program.
Okay, I agree. And you also had, because you mentioned previously you had this experience of being a parent and an expat living in another country. How was your search for international? I don't know if you were looking for international schools or search for schools in another country. What were the main hurdles?
I have a 6-year-old. So obviously to search for a school and a school that fits is extremely important. A lot of it comes from the interaction you have with people. Schools will strive to have their perfect infrastructures. They want to offer good sports facilities with nice gyms, nice fields, lots of green spaces. But to me, what really matters is the interaction between the parent and the educator, and that bond and trust that can be generated, that link that can be generated on that first, second talk. Students have to also visit the schools. They have to have a taste of it. Sometimes parents want to spend a day, or the students want to spend a day at the school, just testing it out and interacting a little bit with the school community, see if it fits. But the good thing here is that most of these international schools, they have a wide pool of students from all over the world. The school that I work for, we have about 700 students and more than 50 different nationalities. And within that diversity, students migrate towards one another. They help each other. They find the same needs within themselves because they're all new to that place, and they tend to bond quite well. They can communicate and normally communicate in English, but they find ways, even the lower, like my 6-year-old, he finds ways of communicating with other students, either by using Portuguese, by using English, or by using any other form of language that young kids can obviously invent and come up with. So, and one thing that Aline mentioned, and it's quite important, is the offer of extracurricular activities. Because one thing is what happens inside of a classroom, in a class setting, where the teacher has to deliver a lesson, and sometimes there's very little space for social interaction during that teaching moment. Then recess flies, and there's lunch as well. But it's during the extracurricular activities and clubs where students, they try to find what they actually like, and they bond through those common tastes. Whether it's MUN simulations, or the MUN's the Model United Nations simulations, or volleyball, soccer, whatever, sport or theater, music, they gravitate and they tend to get together, and that's when the real bonds start to happen. And something that the international schools here do a lot, because we're in Europe, there's associations between different schools in Europe, and they create, for example, gatherings or tournaments, and schools travel to different countries. The families of those schools become host families for the students coming in, and that's a great experience that the students never forget. They will remember these moments forever and ever, and that's when the strongest bonds are generated between them.
Yeah, that's also because I think, as you, Aline, mentioned, lots of requirements from the parents, but I think the ultimate one is the fact that you want to see your child happy in the school. That's you can look at many accolades and accreditations and so on, but as a parent, I can speak by my own experience. If your child is not happy, all those accreditations do not matter. What matters is a social environment where your child will thrive and be happy. So it's very, very interesting insight, Pedro. Is there anything else you want to highlight?
I just want to add that obviously I totally agree with what you just said. And if a family finds an IB certified school, for example, that stamp of the IB, it's already a seal of quality.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's many variables that need to be worked out. But pedagogically speaking, if a school is an IB certified school, for example, it's already a high quality educational environment service
I see.
that the school offers. So what ends up what matters the most is the environment of the school. If the profile that the student coming in has fits with that environment that the school has, and if it fits, the students will be happy, the learning will happen naturally, and obviously the families will be happy as well.
Yeah. Okay. And you can speak by experience because you are a program leader at the IB. A question, I don't know if you said that, but you also teach. What do you teach?
I'm a science teacher, and I also coordinate the services action because the IB program has a service learning core that every student needs to engage in. And it's amazing because, especially for foreigners that don't know the city around, they need to find ways of interacting with the community and engaging in service learning. And I coordinate that portion of the school curriculum, and I teach chemistry and I teach integrated sciences.
Excellent. Okay, Pedro, you are a pool of knowledge, so I have to stop with you because otherwise we will go over the mark. But thank you very much. I'll come back to you in a bit. But now I will speak to Rafael. Hello. Sorry, Rafael, don't feel neglected. Now we'll spend some time with you.
I'm learning here,
You're learning, yeah. Your kids are in school years now, yeah?
Yeah, I have a 7-year-old boy, a 3-year-old girl, and just a newborn. So for me, that's a very hot topic, as you can imagine.
Yeah, you're making notes, yeah?
Making notes, yes.
Okay, well, I'd like to get your insights on the real estate trends in Portugal, but specifically for families that are interested in moving to the south of the river. A question, I think there.
Yeah, so the south of the river, as we call it, the South Bay of Lisbon. It's I'm actually very comfortable speaking about it, not only because I work in the industry and that I've been advising clients for quite a few years now, but it's a place that I live. It's all the district. So the South Bay, for someone that is not very used with the term, it's all the way from when you cross the river going south of Lisbon, right? When you cross the Tagus River, all the way from Almada, which is the first city after the bridge, all the way to Setubal, which includes Seixal, includes Palmela, Setúbal, and other cities. There are, I think, 3. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think 3 international schools in that region. One in Almada, another one in Seixal, which is where I live, and also another one in Palmela, almost Setúbal, but it's still Palmela. It is a considered the suburbs of Lisbon. So it carries the suburban lifestyle, right? So usually you have bigger properties with more outdoor space, and in terms of price, it's still compared to Lisbon prices. Usually 1/3 for half of the price you can find within 30 minutes from Lisbon. So in terms of affordability, there's a bigger market for houses with a garden, with swimming pool, proximity also to the beach, and there are still some historical city centers. So you can there's an interesting mix of a suburban lifestyle, but with proximity to to historical city centers, and also very good access to Lisbon, proximity to the beach. So, yeah.
And how's the commute to Lisbon? How long does it take?
Like from Setubal, which is, let's say, the furthest that you can go within the South Bay. It takes 35 minutes by train. There's a good number of trains that goes from Setúbal to Lisbon. By car, a little bit like that as well. 35 minutes, not in rush hours. But yeah, it's a very interesting place to be connected to Lisbon and be able to live a more, let's say, suburban lifestyle, but still connected to the big city.
Okay, and then let me ask one thing. Are there any specific features or amenities that families should look for when choosing a property in these areas that you mentioned, Palmela, Seixal? What is it that they should be looking for?
Well, I think the proximity to schools is, we're talking about school, and that, of course, is a very important point. You will find that in those cities, Seixal or Palmela, the internal public transportation does not work as good as in Lisbon, even though the commute to Lisbon or the connection with Lisbon is quite good. By train, it's done properly. You can park your car, in the train station or in the boat station, which is where I go every day to Lisbon. But you still need to drive internally, or the bus system is not as good as it is in. So it's important to really having that as and making sure that it's not so much of a long drive to the school, or there's options to have the kids taken to the school. So I think that's one. Of course, and depending on the size of this family, there's a big advantage of having a property in that in the South Bay. Usually, by curiosity, in my county, my city, Seixal, where I live, property prices, they are about a third of or almost a third compared to Lisbon, right? So there's a bigger chance that you can get a very decent sized property for a fair price within all that. So it's a little bit of a proximity to the beach as well. For me, it's something very important. So I think those are a few things to look after.
Yeah. Okay. So the highlights is the quality of life. You can easily commute to Lisbon, to the school as well, and also the price point, which is makes the area more affordable than central Lisbon. And you are also very close to one of the most beautiful beaches in the metropolitan area of Lisbon, correct? So is that called the Costa da Caparica?
Yeah, I mean, personally, Costa Caparica is very famous, and it's actually the closest beach from Lisbon, even though it's on the side of the river. But for me, actually, the most incredible beaches are in the natural Arrábida mountain, which is also in the south, in the South Bay, which includes Sesimbra, includes. There's a view from Troia, very close to Comporta. So it's a very, in terms of good beaches and scenic views, you're very well served there.
Yeah. Yes, I know. It's beautiful there. Well, I will have to open the Q&A now because we've been speaking for a while, and then soon I won't have any time to ask you questions. But again, if any of your questions. I'm speaking to the audience now. If some of your questions have not been answered, do not worry, because this will be recorded and published in our YouTube channel concomitantly, so Goldcrest as well as Global Citizen Solutions. And you will be able to, we will be able to answer your question in the comment section of the post. So now I won't be able to address all of the questions here, but I will choose a couple. So there's one for Pedro here. What support systems do these schools have in place to help students and family to adapt to a new country and culture?
Well, I guess that there's many strategies that schools can follow, and schools help families and students integrate and adapt to their new environment in many ways. One of the most common ways is to organize events. They organize events in school and organize events out of the school, such as, for example, picnics, hiking, cultural events as well at the school, presented by the students themselves to help integrate and help adapt. Articulations with the PTG. It's quite common for the international schools here to have PTGs, parent-teacher groups.
Yeah.
Language pedagogical programs as well, because even though the curriculum is delivered in English, outside of the school, it's Portugal, and the language spoken everywhere is Portuguese. Even though you can, you can pretty much, get understood by anyone in any type of service in English in Portugal, which is great. But Portuguese is the main language of the country. So language pedagogical programs, and also the schools also promote cultural events. They celebrate, for example, holidays in different countries or from different countries. They will probably celebrate the 4th of July, because in July students are already at home. It's they're on vacation already. But they celebrate. Schools tend to celebrate many the more common holidays from all over the countries that represent that school.
Possibly Thanksgiving.
From the United States, the most common ones, Thanksgiving for sure in November.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Pedro. There's one question here for Aline. What are the most popular region of Portugal for families working with Global Citizen Solutions?
Well, I think I could share this question with Rafael because they normally also talk to Rafael's team to check locations to buy a property. But from my view, I think people like to come to Lisbon area, this region. Of course, as we work with Golden Visa clients and the rules changed a little bit. So for a residential property, it's not possible to do that for Golden Visa. So that changed a little bit. But for sure, if they are planning on relocate, they would check around Lisbon. Of course, the Algarve is something that they love, right? And Porto as well. Some people prefer Porto to Lisbon. And I can see also a move to our mine and Rafael's area. That's the other side of the river as well. So I have even like a cousin I have even a cousin that's coming from London. She bought actually a house in Azeitão, and that choice was because she wanted to enroll her son in an international school there. It seems like a really good one. So that's something that it's good to mention, that parents used to check this when they are thinking about relocation when they have child.
Okay, thanks, because you answered the question that I had here for Rafael. So one was that very, very direct question: shall we look for the school first and then buy a property, or the opposite?
Yeah, well, we that's a hard one. I mean, the way that usually our clients do is they try to apply for, make a list of the best one that they like and apply, but also and while they wait for approval, they are exploring the real estate market in all of them, which, and it's not only the real estate market, because but also the lifestyle and how it is to live in such places. So it's one of those questions where, you know, what comes first, the egg or the chicken, right? What happens? I can definitely say that what happens more frequently is that the school is chosen first, and then so prior to the acquisition of the house. But that is, there's a process that can be like between before taking that decision. You know, there are some ways that the person can do to evaluate not only the school but also the lifestyle and how it is to live in that area. So yeah, it's more common that it happens that way.
Okay. And yeah, that's good. Thank you. There's time for one more question. There is a very interesting one here. I don't know who wants to answer this. Maybe a mixture between Aline and Rafael. Are there any challenges that families planning to relocate should be aware of?
No, go for it.
No, I was going to say probably, and then I would think a little bit more.
Yeah, many challenges. Of course, it takes when you are an expat, right? You face challenges, adapting to somewhere. And Portugal, it's an easy country to adapt, especially the regions. The greater metropolitan, the greater Lisbon or the greater Porto or the Algarve. They are more cosmopolitan, so but easy to adapt. But many challenges. I think that it's a shock, of course, when you move, and depending on where you move from, these challenges might be different, right? Moving from the United States, we helped assisted 28 nationalities of acquiring a property, and like for each country and for each culture, there is a different thing to adapt, right? So definitely.
I actually thought about the challenge that it's hard to get a place, it seems, in schools. So you have to apply in advance to get a place. I don't really know how long it takes to get a place, but I know that's hard. That, as I mentioned, my cousin, I'm mentioning again, she's moving. She is moving this year to Portugal because her son got a place in this school. And one thing that for me was surprising is because her son is not even 2 years old. And then she's doing a big move before her house is ready because she doesn't want to lose this place. So it's also a challenge. I've been hearing that a lot, actually, to find a place in a good school. So probably parents should start thinking really advanced and doing their research. And I don't know how, if you can seek help for that or not, and how to do it, but it's good to think about it.
Pedro, you have something to say?
Just to add, it sometimes takes up to a year to get a spot in one of those sought after schools, the international schools. So that's a challenge. And obviously then they have to face the challenges of extremely good weather, nice food, great people. Just kidding. But yeah, it's to find a good school and get a spot there is something that you either have luck or you have to wait. And the sooner you apply for the school, the better.
Yeah. My 2 cents worth of advice would be to put your name on a waiting list of a couple of schools, not only one. And also be prepared for, as Rafael said, you're relocating to a new country, so there will be new bureaucracies, a new modus operandi in the new country that you have to be prepared. And it doesn't mean that will make it harder. It's just, it's different, and but it might be quite unfamiliar to people because they're not used to it. The visas, the social security number, the national insurance number, and there it goes. So lots.
And for all those, they can count on us to help them.
Yeah. Well, Citizen Solution here to help. And now I have to stop because we've been talking for 49 minutes. So that's great. It's always a good sign that we are working with very good content. But in any case, if you want, I'm not going to be able to answer all these questions here. So there's lots more. But please don't worry. Rest assured, this will be answered as soon as we publish the live. And what else? Well, Aline, Pedro, Rafael, thank you very much. Great insights shared here. And now I have to say goodbye. And tomorrow we will talk about the region of Oeiras, Sintra, Cascais. And I'll see you tomorrow then. Bye. Relocating to a new country, so there will be new bureaucracies, a new modus operandi in the new country that you have to be prepared